Hello and welcome to Daily Politics, reaching you from Trust TV here in Abuja. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. I am Suleiman. Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we're discussing matters arising from the Kaduna Abuja train attacks, because this issue has taken quite several dimensions, including in the wider politics. But for now, our interest is on the security dimension of it. And with me are two people involved in such matters. So, Mr. Senator, and maybe you would tell Nigerians, because I'm sure, even I myself, when I was first introduced to you, I wondered whether the name refers to a senator as a name or a senator as a title for someone elected to serve in the National Assembly.
Okay. Senator is my name.
Okay.
In our part of the country, we have various of such names. We've had independent, we have government.
Interesting, like have, manager and so
manager,
on. Interesting.
Yes, those kinds of things, yes.
So the part of the problem is we don't know. It's like we're dealing with bananas here. Like we don't know how many Nigerians were actually on board. Initially we were told there were 970 persons on passengers on the list, and then we were told that no, it was 360. And now the figures released by NRC now only indicate a total of 354. If you add the 170 that are safe and the 184 that are unaccounted for, that gives you 354. So exactly why is it difficult to know how many Nigerians were on a train?
It's a national trend. If you check, Nigeria is a country that have had problem with figures. Not only what is happening now, if you check the trend, it has been there over the years. And the problem is that Nigeria have not realized that this problem with figures has implication for national security. And we treat it as just mere figures. Because if you check, we have problem with our census figures. We have problem even the electorate, the number of voters. We have problem with, we can at a go know the number of Nigerians that are even unemployed or those in school or out of school. We have to even rely on external bodies to get some of those facts. If there is maybe people are killed, you begin to, when you check headline the next day, I bet you get like up to 10 different figures. Even official sources, you begin to get different figures. When you ask Nigeria now, how many of our personnel, be it military or have been killed, we may not be able to give accurately. So, and that's feedback to the overall challenge we are having. And that affects our planning, affects both in security and economy. Now, coming back to issue of what happened, apart from having those problem figures, it's also an issue of corruption in itself. Because I happen to take the train a lot. Because Kaduna, yes, every weekend I go to, I have a program in National Defense Academy. So every weekend I'm in Kaduna. So even that Monday, that thing happened, I came back from Kaduna. I was lucky I came earlier before the But you find out that when you want to book the ticket, you find out that within even 24 hours, they will tell you that it will show on the app or on the website that all the seats have been booked. If you manage to maybe come in, you now realize that there are empty seats within there. I began to notice this challenge late last year. I missed a couple of the time I'm supposed to travel. So what I did was to just contract the booking out to someone who will just be helping me when it's time to help me book. But now I found out that there is racketeers that will just buy off those tickets and begin to sell it at exorbitant prices. And they don't even care. I mean, they make money so much that if they don't sell it off eventually, they don't care. Like I told you, when you eventually enter, you find out that some of the seats are empty. So now, it's just like a manifesting when you enter the plane, aircraft.
Yes.
Now, that's why it's difficult to even give account of how many Nigerians, from where, the names of those that
were on the train.
So, issue of security issues there, then the problem of corruption that need to be tackled, and the culture thing, we don't take our numbers serious. So it has come to haunt us now.
But Mr. Madu, in the context of a heightened security environment or insecurity environment in the country over the past few years, in fact, the Abuja-Kaduna train came at a time when insecurity was already an issue in the country. It was not like it came in the 80s or 90s when, you know, you would say that we were relatively laid back and so on. It came when Boko Haram was already an issue here, even though you would say that it was largely confined to the northeast, but it was there, you know. And now the banditry in the northwest has also been there, and there was in fact an attack on this very train in October last year. So shouldn't the management of the NRC recognize at that point how important it is to know exactly how many Nigerians are on each train?
Yeah, starting from the conception for the project is very difficult to make sense out of the fact that the planners of that project did not put in the security protection of the infrastructure while executing it. And even when it has been commissioned, nobody bothered about protecting that vital national infrastructure. And it has been a trend over the years. People don't take security very seriously in Nigeria. People believe that security is for the military, for the other security forces. The agencies of the federal government, the ministries, the departments, the agencies, they don't believe in the fact that for every decision you're taking, it has security implications. And because they don't care, it is not part of the training and it is not part of the culture of the federal bureaucracy. And so you can now begin to understand why the Nigerian Railway Corporation will be selling its tickets without knowing that that route is a heavily security area and infested with the worst form of banditry and terrorism, who don't care about attacking a large number of Nigerians, and who don't give a damn about shedding blood. And if they had taken that into consideration, they would have been sure of the person they are selling tickets to. You can't sell tickets in bulk. And if they are going to sell tickets in bulk, you have to show their ID cards. And so it is the same attitude we have about governance that we have transferred even into purely security issues. In selling the tickets, the NRC doesn't care about the security of its passengers, because if they do, they would first of all ensure that whosoever is buying a ticket, you have to have a way of verifying the person. And with the way tickets are sold, it means that even bandits can easily buy the tickets and enter. And then from there, we'll be communicating with their counterparts who are waiting somewhere. there are some stories that came out of the survivors that said that some of them were communicating with those outside. And it becomes so clear because all manner of people can easily buy from the racketeers, because those selling the tickets don't care about whether the people who enter the trains are secure or not. So it has to be a new NRC that will handle Nigerian Railway Corporation activities. If it is the old ways, then expect worse things to happen. Because since a terrorist or a bandit, if he tries one thing and it works for him, that's where he goes all the time. And so what they need to do is to change the way they do business in the Nigerian Railway Corporation, just as every other sector has to change the way they do their business. The same way you cannot just enter the airport unless you have reasons. That's the way it has to be. If you don't have a ticket, you can't enter. But go to the terminus of any of these train stations. All manner of people enter.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we're discussing issues around the sack, or not the sack, of Sheikh Imam Khalid, Noura Khalid of the Abu Legislative Central Mosque last week. But before we go into discussion with my guest, who is the Sheikh himself, we will take a moment to bring you some of the things that the Sheikh actually said during that Friday sermon before he was suspended on Saturday, and then by Monday he was given disengagement later. Stay tuned and watch.
Today we are going to look at the relationship between Ramadan and dua, supplication. This is very important at a time when Nigeria is facing a very serious challenge. Everything is not working well. People are dying. Our roads are not secured. Most of the parts of the country is not secured. And the government is always telling us what we don't understand, that they are doing their best. And we deserve more than that, their best. That is what I always say. Yes, you said you are doing your best, but we as citizens are saying that we deserve more than that, your best, because we want a secured Nigeria. And what you are now telling us, that your concern is all about 2023 election. And what I'm advising the citizens to do is to send a message that yes, we are going to vote in 2023, but under condition that there must be security in Nigeria. Period to that, we are not going out to vote anything. If that's the only language you understand, we're gonna speak it. Because our lives are important. We are people, we want to live, and our dignity is important as well. Our wealth is important. Every part and bit of us is important. Therefore, you must do something to scare our life and to make our security workable.
Thank you. So, Sheikh, I think this is a good place to start. You were on that video. It was your sermon last week, Friday. You were the person who delivered those words, you know, and so on. But like me here and Nigerians at home, you had to watch a replay of that sermon. Do you think there's anything that you said that day, you know, that you would have right now want to change, particularly since what has happened between then and now?
Every word there is my word, and I stand by it, and I pray, may the Almighty put it in my record and read it for me in the hereafter, because I believe it's a rewardable act. I am trying to preserve lives of innocent Nigerians. I am trying to revive the morale of the government. I am trying to remind them that democracy is not all about election, but it is most importantly about life preservation. Protection of life and property is one of the duties of every sensible, reasonable government. So what is wrong there? I don't see anything wrong. But if somebody can see something wrong there, he can remind me, he can educate me.
So do you believe that it is wrong of the Mosque Committee to have found certain things, to take offense with some of the things you said, and then suspended you first, and then disengaged you based on those words that you said?
I don't want to call it the wrong of the committee, because there wasn't any committee meeting before the action.
Okay.
It was a one-man business, one-man decision. He took this decision, 1 or 2 men or 3, not a quorum of a committee.
How many members of the there in the committee?
I can't recall, but let's leave it as you said, committee.
Okay.
I don't want to call it a wrong decision, because if I do so, it means I want to go back to that place. But I want them to ask Nigerians, to ask the reactions of Nigerians. Are Nigerians happy with the situation? Are they supporting killing and bombing of our roads, our train? By their action, they are telling Nigerians, especially the chairman who came from Zamfara, he is sending signals to Zamfara people, a very bad, wrong signal. He is sending messages as a former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that he is now behind the bandits. He is happy with what they are doing. That is the meaning. But you can't say you suspend me because you sack me because I said let's have a united, free Nigeria, free from bandits, free from crime, free from terrorism, free from conflicts, free from insecurity. I am asking for secured Nigeria. Is that abomination? Is that a sin to ask for secured Nigeria?
But in his letter, which is out there in the public domain, at least, it's widely available on social media. In the letter, he said, one of the things he said is that the suspension and the subsequent disengagement was not because of your calling for the stop to the kidnappings and the killings and so on, but because you called for Nigerians not to vote in the 2023 elections.
You've heard the video.
Okay.
Is it a call not to vote or to vote under condition? Let him check his English very well, if it is a matter of the English or my English is not right. But I said, yes, that was the first word. Yes, we are going to vote. That is the first statement. But what? Under what? Condition that provide security before 2023. If you become upset against that, because of that, and take any action, you are telling us that you know that there wouldn't be a security in Nigeria before 2023. That you guys are not willing or are not able. Either there is no political willingness to bring security, or you know that it is impossible to bring security before 2023. which one are you telling us now? But if you know that there is a political will to bring security, and our government is capable of bringing security, then you will just laugh and tell me that before 2023 there will be security. Which one is he telling us that he's telling us?
The thing is, the point maybe they are trying to make is that without voting in 2023, you will have a constitutional crisis that is worse than the security situation, because there will be no legitimate government at all. There will be no person to take over from the presidency. And then you will have even no country whatsoever, because it's not just some places that will be ungoverned. The whole country will then be ungoverned. That such a scenario can even be worse than the current security situation. So the assumption is that scenario is what you were calling for. How do you answer to that?
I will answer to that by saying that, why did you think that I am calling for no voting? No voting. That is not my call. But you can reinterpret it the way you want. But people understand what I said. Okay, let's assume that 2023, if there will not be election, there will be chaos, there will be anarchy. Did you forgotten that a sitting governor said that the bandits are able to shut down Nigeria? They have the capacity to shut down Nigeria. Have you heard that or not?
Yes, I have.
Now, if that is the situation on ground, if we did not take action before 2023, what if they shut down Nigeria? Therefore, we must start doing something. And this is what I did. To tell the government that there could be no election by 2023 if you did not take action. I may put it in a different language, just to send the message into their minds, and I am lucky to do that. The message has gone viral. Everybody has had it, and whether you like it or not, it will bring positive change in Nigeria.
So, because one of the issues that the Mosque Committee said that they have in this case is that they thought you were not remorseful, that the whole essence of punishment, is that people should show remorse, to change their behavior after being punished for something. So the suspension was supposed to help you to reflect and see whether some of the things that you said could have been different. Do you feel the Mosque Committee misunderstood you, or deliberately did what they wanted to do, or what is there that you think that Nigerians need to know between you and the Mosque Committee in this specific instance?
They are the one calling it punishment. They intended to punish me, but they rewarded me. It is a reward to me, because Nigerians now know more than before. They made me popular more than before, and they made people to listen to the video more than this. Go to the social media, which they are afraid of. You see what happened there. So I don't see it as a punishment. And even if it is punishment, I can absorb it. I can't change. I will never, ever feel reluctant, feel free, be happy that Nigerians are dying. I will never, ever support incompetency and lack of political will to deal with bandits and crime.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we're discussing what alternative parties can do in a changed political environment. The changed political environment is, of course, the new Electoral Act 2022. You have, among other changes, the fact that the campaign now will last 450 days, as against 90 days in the previous elections. What this means is that parties and their candidates, including parties that do not have much representation yet, can then engage with the voters more than before. But of course, I'm preempting my guests, Malan Ilyas Gadu and Malan Balaraba Al-Qasim. So if I may start with you, sir, especially as an aspirant yourself, you see that the political space within the two major parties, PDP and the APC, appear already to be quite close to many aspirants, particularly, not just the voters, but the aspirants, people who have political ambition and they want to pursue it in this election, you know. So how does this other parties offer alternatives to these aspirants?
Well, I would say that what is happening in the two major political parties now, is a consequence of their lack of internal democracy, lack of allowing for inclusion, and lack of allowing for the political space to blossom. And of course, they have closed the space. If you look closely, you'll find that the political parties are actually built around individuals rather than ideological inclinations or ideological, development. And over the years, these parties have promised to, to do the needful in those respects, but they have not done that. We have come to a point whereby now the two parties are now at the verge of, possible implosion because of lack of, internal democracy and dissatisfaction. And so a lot of the people in those two political parties are actually making admiring glances, so to speak, at the alternative political parties. In this case, most especially People's Redemption Party, which is my party, and the outfit of Rabiu Kwankwaso. So definitely, over the next couple of months, as a result of development within these two political parties, we are very likely to have some of the aggrieved aspirants and persons in these two major political parties, trying to move to these new political parties, because the new reality is that the Nigerians are very tired of the two political parties. They've seen them all. There is no difference between the two in terms of inclination, in terms of what they're doing. So they are trying. Nigerians generally are tired of them, and they're trying with the new political parties. In this case, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, People's Redemption Party and the outfit of Rabiu Kwankwaso. So definitely, before very long, we are going to see a movement, massive movement, out of these political parties into the new political parties. And the new political parties, or rather the smaller political parties, are ready to be able to take up the gauntlet, because in the case of PRP, it's not a new party. It's a party that has been with Nigeria. It has been part of the ideological development of the country. And PRP, everybody knows, is a party that has what the other parties are lacking, which is an ideological bent. Everybody knows the PRP to be a party that has pursued and has continued to pursue the ideas, the issues of the downtrodden of this country, which is what is really needed in this country at this moment in time.
Thank you. So, Malam Balarabe, it's one thing for him who's actually a member of the PRP to say that the parties are ready. It is another thing for an observer like yourself, who has been following political developments in the country for a time. Would you say that these new parties, are they really ready to pick up where the APC and the PDP may have failed Nigerians?
Okay, yes. I would say yes and no at the same time.
Okay.
Because I will look at the thing from two perspectives. First, these smaller political parties, made some impacts in 2019, because I can remember when I was in Bauchi as a reporter, NNPP made a very good impact, and PRP even ended up winning a House of Representatives seat in
Bauchi.
Yes, and it is a very strong party in Bauchi then. The second thing is the personalities involved in these parties. If we see PRP, we talked about Professor Jiga, and in NNPP, there is a Konkosos and other personalities. And for the movement he was talking about, we have seen it, ANPP having it in Jigawa state and other states, with massive movement of members into the party. But we are facing an election. Maybe those movements are not the realities sometimes. Because when it comes to the elections, maybe we may have issues with the candidates they present. That will determine how well a party can perform. And the PRP, like he said, is a resurrection of an old party, which made an impact, especially in northern Nigeria with the Aminu Kano winning elections and having a very good followership among the commoners. And NNPP is a very good party, so to say, because it has the personalities that have been rooted in politics, that can sell
Actually, the NNPP is also a reincarnation of a Second Republic party, the National People's Party of Nigeria, of the Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. So the NNPP is a new version of that.
Party.
Yes.
Yes, because like I said, there are strong personalities in the party, and there are in PRP. But the bigger parties have always dominated the political space. But the hope now is, with the disenchantment, they may have an impact. Even if not at the national level, they may have it at the local levels, where maybe smaller seats may be won by the parties, and that will make an impact on the whole system.
Interesting. But to what extent can we even say that there is a disenchantment against these major political parties, PDP and APC? To what extent can, as an observer of these issues, can you say that Nigerians are really disenchanted with PDP and APC?
The defections from the major parties to these parties says it all. Because people are moving from even the ruling party, not even the biggest opposition party, the PDP, but from the APC to these parties. So that shows some people are not satisfied with what the ruling party and the major opposition party have been doing all these years. Because PDP has been in the forefront, having the president for some years and then taken over by the APC now. So if you see people moving from the ruling party and then the biggest opposition party to other parties, that shows we are not satisfied with what these people. Let's try another platform to see if we can make a change.
Interesting. Malin, one of the arguments people can make against the smaller parties is that they tend to, their power of mobilization by themselves of voters and of supporters on their own is limited. So they wait for big wigs big name politicians who cannot get space in the major parties to defect to their own parties before they can. Isn't that part of what is actually stunting the growth of the smaller parties?
No, I don't think. Well, I can't speak for the other party, but I know for sure that for PRP, it has always been there, and it has always been the expression of the commoners, the Talakawa of the northern Nigeria. It has always been there, even when it was facing formidable opposition in the First Republic in the form of the MPC. It was there, and in the Second Republic, it had the governorships of two of the largest states in Nigeria, Kano and Kaduna. I mean, you're talking about Kaduna in those days comprising present Kaduna and Katsina, and Kano of this day comprising Kano and Jigawa. And then it had some of the most some of the most experienced political personalities that Nigeria ever produced. It is a party that has known it all in terms of alliances with parties in the South, NCNC, with grassroots mobilization. In fact, let me even say it here. The victory, or rather the following that President Muhammadu Buhari has been garnering over the years is actually the following of the PRP. Ideologically speaking, because the northern Nigerian masses looked upon him as a reincarnation of Malam Aminu Kano, somebody who stood for truth, somebody who stood tooth and nail for the downtrodden. So because there was no Malam Aminu Kano, they saw him candidate Buhari as a reincarnation of that. So what actually President Buhari, was boasting or coasting along with was actually the PRP masses. But then, of course, he was carrying actually the banner of PRP, even though, of course, it was under a different political formation. But the sentiments are there and all that. So for PRP, it's going to be hit the ground running. And the PRP has the ideological inclinations, because what Nigerians are looking for now is that the two political parties, they cannot separate the two of them. APC and PDP, they're all the same. The people that make up the APC of today were people of PDP. So, and then of course, the two political parties have not been able to show us anything in terms of marked difference. And in the 2023 elections, they would have reached their sell-by date. President Buhari will not be there to be the fig leaf president for them. They will have to stand on their own, and the nakedness of their lack of ideological inclination will be seen by Nigerians. So at the end of the day, people will say, look, we cannot go with this fake arrangements. We are going to go back where we were. That's why, the movement out of these two, the PDP has already been it's a settled issue as far as Nigerians are concerned. It is the APC that Nigerians, with the exit of Buhari, would now see it for what it is, a PDP in diaspora. And they'll say, look, we've seen this all, and we're not going to go with these guys. We are now going to go to the party that has an ideological bent. And that party is PRP, because that is what it has always been. Now, the masses of Nigerians have seen the two political parties as the same. So a movement from PDP to APC or APC to PDP, it's nothing. So they will prefer to move to a party that has the ideological bent, that will really represent the people, the downtrodden people who have been made rendered poor, rendered humiliated by these two parties. APC masquerading as a party of the people. By the time President Buhari leaves the scene, it will be seen for what it is, a party, a PDP reincarnate. So nobody will want to have anything to do with those two parties. They will naturally come to the party that has the ideological inclination, and that party is PRP, for sure. Yes. So that's where we believe that, and when they come, we won't have to start learning the ropes. We already have the ropes anyway. And in any case, the support that President Buhari has actually was the support of the masses of northern Nigeria who are, ideologically bound to the PRP. So we'll take back what we gave to Buhari, take it back, and then leave the other guys to go and swim and sink on their own.
Interesting. So, this the Mali, he has raised quite a number of important issues, particularly in terms of the relationship between the PRP as a political party and its ideological positions, and the kind of support, political support that President Muhammadu Buhari in particular understands and enjoys in northern Nigeria. That's an important new angle in political analysis that maybe we will need to sit down with you on another day to pursue further, because it is certainly some of the things that people vote for Buhari for, or see in Buhari are the exact ideals of society that the PRP and the NEPU before it, had propagated long before even Buhari became first head of state, and so on. But that's for another day. For now, we can raise the question of whether or not it is wanting, how practicable it is for a party in the wilderness, not just in opposition, in the wilderness, to claim, the presidency or the voting base of a party in power as we speak.
Yes, what he said might be true in a way, because I can remember having a discussion with a Serbian member of the House of Representatives, a member of APC. He was telling me that if Buhari quits in 2023, we'll all be on our own.
The APC.
Which means anybody going for elections on the platform of the APC is on his own, because he no longer has that privilege of maybe using Buhari to win, his elections, which is true. So depending on the person these parties will present, that will determine how well they perform. Because if they have a good candidate, people will go for him. But if they do like the bigger parties do, maybe present a candidate that is not popular, I don't see them making the impact expected.
Interesting. So that brings us directly to one issue with these alternative parties. One, that there are so many, and that because there are so many, their power to impact on the political system is thereby reduced. That for individually, that probably they would do better had they find some, if they would find some way of working together, either in a coalition or in some form of partnership. How do you respond to that as a member?
I would say right away
parties?
that, well, if you look at the sky, there are so many birds in the sky, but we only know that there's one eagle. There's one eagle. It doesn't hide itself, and everybody knows that this is an eagle. PRP has always been there. Right from the First Republic, it fought it helped to fight for the independence of this country.
But it doesn't have a governorship election.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. The essence of having political parties is to win elections.
No, what I want to tell you is that in 2023 elections, it's going to be a winner. It's going to be a free for all. And now, the politics of Nigeria is no longer going to be governed by parties, but by individuals, and by the performance of these two political parties has thrown open the entire political system for everybody who can. And this is where the ideology of a party, the ideology that the two political parties have refused to acknowledge, have refused to do, is what will come back to haunt them, because nobody now differentiates between APC and PDP. The leadership of the APC now is actually PDP. So there's no difference. And even the experience of Nigerians under the APC, which promised to be different from PDP, has not even been anything but. So at the end of the day, white Nigerians voted in 2015 was for a party or an individual that would give us an ideological bent, which they saw in President Buhari. But unfortunately, this has not been so. So at the end of the day, Nigerians are saying, look, hey, we did an honest mistake in 2015. In 2023, we are not going to repeat that. So we'll go back to the party that has had rigor in terms of its ideological bent, that has stayed faithful to its principles of trying to help the masses emancipate themselves, and has the ability to be able to sell itself on that platform. Now, PRP would welcome, definitely, it's a political system. We welcome an alliance with people of like minds, but not at the expense of, its, of its ideological bent, because that is what Nigerians, that is what PRP has been known for. You could say anything about PRP, but you could not say that it is not a party that hasn't an ideological bent. And that is what the two parties have been run away from. It has caught up with them. Now they have no place to go. Nigerians have seen them for what they are: empty, vacuous, spacious, spastic political parties. Now they're going back, retracing their steps, and PRP is there because they know anytime we want to go ideological, we want to go principles, we want to go, the principles of politics of inclusion. Of course, PRP is there.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and we're discussing issues around Nigeria's revenue sharing formula. You see, this will look like an ordinary thing today. Well, all the newspapers reported it on their front pages, and many, many millions of Nigerians may not have noticed. But of course, the issue of revenue sharing is one of the biggest issues in Nigerian politics. And today, we look straight into it with people who no one is better qualified to discuss. So, Dr. Washu, I have read your column and your writings on governance and for quite a long time. So it's interesting to have you on the show. So I wonder, let's start there. If you had won the election in 2019, would your policy or your revenue sharing formula, would it look similar to what we now have, or would it be far away from it?
It will be far away. It will be radically different, because my proposal, which was actually one of the things I was pushing, actually, one of my policy plank, that the formula needs to be inverted. I would have wanted 25% for the federal government, 35% for the state, and 40% for the local government. Okay. And there's a reason, because I feel that, and I believe strongly from the point of view of economics, that the next spurt of growth, the next capacity for growth will come from the local government. You see, because there was a time we neglected the local governments, we neglected the villages and all of the small towns, and everybody moved to the big cities, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, Enugu, and co. And these days now, everything goes on in the state capitals, and after the state capitals, nothing goes on. So there's a way by which we're pursuing, in the pursuit of productivity. And you can see that Nigeria's economy is growing at 3.8%. We're clapping for ourselves. When population growth is 2.6%, inflation is 15.6%. That is negative growth.
Absolutely.
The negative growth is at least 14% negative growth that we have. Okay, so there's a need. Where do we find that productivity from? So we need to go back to the villages and help them. We need, in fact, in terms of infrastructures to that level, so that they can evacuate the farm products, because it's farm products. In fact, they don't even need to evacuate everything to the cities, processing them, adding value there, in creating jobs there, so that our people can start going back from the urban areas to the rural areas. And then, of course, things like trains and so on will come in to ferry people. We haven't started in this country.
Absolutely.
We haven't, because if you look at how it happens in other countries, some of them are not even particularly very rich. Even some of the Eastern European countries, you see some of these things there. Things like taking a train from Malumfashi to connect Katsina, from Katsina to... It shouldn't be a big deal. Absolutely. The other time we saw the rail system, it's very sketchy, and now we have the problem with terrorism, and everybody is really very depressed about it, because we haven't even started. By the time we really start, we shouldn't stop, because there's so much growth to achieve. So I was proposing in my campaign 25% for federal. I believe that the federal doesn't need much. It should be a policy center, okay? And it shouldn't be very attractive. There's too much power at that level. And 35% for the states. The states, of course, are close, about 40% to the local government, because that is where the growth. And again, I felt, and I wrote as much in my manifesto, which is still available online. Anybody just go Talk By Fast manifesto, you'll see that you can download. It's a thick document anyway. That 40% may not be manageable by the local government administration. It may be too much for them. Therefore, there should be a committee of local government, state government, and federal government to look into the management of that money, and perhaps to be co-signatory. But we know we're going to spend a lot of money at the local government level. Everybody needs to get involved. It will not be the kind of money they just go there, they just share. And we cannot also expect that people who are managing at the local government level will have the capacity for big dreams, and also to be able to nationalize their dreams.
Actually, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, but I will come back to that.
To nationalize their dreams and to connect their dreams. Because your local government chairman in Egbeda Akonwojo in Lagos, you are planning your own thing. So much money is coming to you. The guy from Ikeja local government is doing his own thing. How does that connect? So you don't want all those small dreams, because we're talking about a fund that will link up the local government and boom this economy. That's what we need. But I must quickly chip in.
Okay.
You mentioned the thing about federalism. The U.S. Constitution, of course, was never perfect. It has been amended 27 times. The pursuit of a more perfect union.
Continue.
I think it needs to be taught, especially to younger Nigerians and so on, who are so vociferous sometimes in trying to assert themselves that they want a change now. We want, they're pursuing that perfection. They mess up the little good that we have.
Is on ground.
And that's it. It's a knowledge they must have. It's some kind of wisdom that we need to teach them. The pursuit of gradual perfection is what every country aspires to, and is what Nigeria should aspire to. I also say, when they talk of restructuring, okay, that the continuous tweaking of the allocation formula is a restructuring.
Absolutely.
Well,
So
I
that's-
actually
let me bring in,
one second
Jide.
before I bring in Mr. Jide, who
Okay.
is also my friend.
Yeah.
That the present government has left it too late.
So that
These are
was
things that they
precisely
ought
the
to have
question I was
done.
going to ask him.
Yes,
Just give me a
thank you
minute.
very much.
Mr. Jide, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear our conversation so far, right?
Yeah, I'm listening to it.
So the question I asked the doctor is a more specific question, as a presidential candidate, so a more general question to you. Is this new proposal, only last month or 2 months before we were dealing with proposals in the electoral law, and then eventually they became a law in our country, and we all thought that that moves us forward. Now we are discussing a new set of proposals in this revenue sharing formula. But would you say it's something that is rather too little, too late, or something whose time has come and therefore has come at the right time?
Well, thank you very much, moderator, and my brother and friend, Professor Shua, in the studio. It has come too little, too late to make any impact. And I see this as something that will be killed in view. The reason being that we are already into the electioneering period. Politics is dominating public discourse, and the chairman of Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, who promised to make this report available in December of 2020, that by almost 4 months, that in December 2021, adventure, this will have also impacted on the constitutional amendment. I recall that it was in February that the National Assembly decided to vote on the constitutional alteration, and there are 68 items, and this could have formed part of what they will legislate on. But for the president to say, "Oh, now the train has left the station, let that process be concluded first, then we will now think about revenue, the alteration of revenue sharing formula." I do not see the political will on the part of to want to do this. But I may be wrong. The good news is that this is coming 29 years after the last alteration to the revenue sharing formula. From what I read, the last time this happened was in 1992, which is 29 years ago. So by and large, and then you look at the alteration, it's tokenistic. It is not far-reaching. I would have expected that right now there are about 5 items that are being considered for removal from the exclusive legislative list to concurrent legislation. Amongst them is electricity, prisons, a couple of others which are, but I know there were about 5 that the National Assembly has voted to remove from exclusive legislative list and then bring concurrent legislative list. Now, in the event of that happening ultimately, definitely because these items are no longer on the exclusive list, then you need sharing formula since some of the items from the six exclusive legislative list will now have found their way to the concurrent list. But just like I have advocated that this constitutional alteration is taking too long, yeah, I feel that we will have concluded this constitutional alteration last year, in which case those items that may impact on 2023 election will have found their way into the electoral planning for 2023. For instance, the issue of independent candidacy and one other item that's interlinked to that. But it's a welcome development, I must say. It's a welcome development, but I just hope that the police is there for us to see this through so that it doesn't end up being killed in view.
Right. So, but one of the issues, Doctor, is the not just the what that is not far-reaching enough. That is tokenistic. It may not. Let's not compare it to what you have as a presidential candidate, because that's a manifesto by one party, which needs to be sold to the rest of the country and be accepted through an election before it can be, but that process is a much more cumbersome one. But supposing we go with the revenue sharing commission as an agency of the government, considering, changes to this most crucial issue in Nigerian policy and governance, but also Nigerian politics as well, is a reduction of 3.3% of the federal government share, and an increase of a few percentage points for the various states, other subnational levels. Is that significant in your opinion?
No, certainly not, but even though we must commend them, if you're someone, people say is when someone wakes up that you tell them good morning.
Yes.
So for 29 years, nothing has been done. Even though I think that Obasanjo tinkered with it somewhere around 2002 or 3. Tinkered a bit, maybe from 54 to 52 for the federal government. Note also, I see the rhetoric going on around that the federal government has reduced from 52% to 45%.
Yeah.
However, it's actually 48 to 45. The remaining 4%
goes into
ecological fund,
exactly.
federal capital territory, one or two areas, which is still maintained.
Yeah.
But so, like Mr. Jide said, it's tokenistic. It's tokenism, really, because you have increased federal local government by 1%. What exactly do you want to achieve? If it's just to assuage them or just to be as if to show that you are moving, but you're moving to where? So you've increased these guys at the state level from 24% to 21, maybe about 25%.